thank you for downloading Lapse. In this hands-on tutorial, I'm going to take you step by step on how to create a professional looking stop motion video straight from your phone. Stop motion is highly visual and eye-catching because you can give the appearance of objects moving all on their own. Because Instagram autoplays videos, stop motion is the perfect form of video content because it's scroll stopping, loopable, and it looks like magic. The first thing you need to know is that stop motion is actually made up of photos. And when the photos are stitched together and played at a high speed, it gives the appearance of a video. Let's take these two videos for example. They have the exact same shots in them, and the only difference between the two is the one on the left is played at a much slower pace than the one on the right. Notice how the one on the left looks like a choppy slideshow versus the one on the right looks like a nice, smooth video animation. Before we get started with a new project in Lapse, first we're going to open up the iPhone Settings app. We're going to go to Display and Brightness, and then for Auto Lock, we're going to click Never. This will prevent your phone from locking while you're shooting. We're going to create our first project in Lapse. Click that big blue plus sign on the bottom tab in Lapse, and the camera is going to open right away. Don't worry about any of the settings inside the app yet. We're going to practice the basics of stop motion, which is movement. So in this first project, we're going to make an object move from one side of the screen to the other. I'm going to use this pink hat, and if you don't have a pink hat, you can't use this app. I'm just kidding. Grab any object you want. It could be a mug, a plant, anything that you can just move from one side to the other. All right, let's start shooting your first project. First, take a photo with the frame completely empty. Once you have the photo of the frame completely empty, you're going to move the object just a tiny bit to the left, and then take your next photo. Once you take your second photo with the object just a little bit in frame, you're going to notice the ghosted image overlay. This is the overlay of the previous image in your project, and it's there as a guideline so you know how far you have to move your object. We're going to rinse and repeat this process of moving the object, taking a photo, moving the object, taking another photo, until the hat is completely out of frame. And you're going to take another photo with the frame completely empty. Now, on the top right corner of the camera, you're going to see a play button. Push that and the editor will open. Now push play and see your project. Pretty cool, hey? We're going to adjust the speed of this project. So on the bottom tab, push speed, and then move the slider about 3/4 of the way to the right. So this is the basics of stop motion. But did you notice how the video is very choppy and the lighting's not very consistent and it has like a bit of a flickery look to it? In part 2, I'm going to teach you how to consistently light your video to avoid that flickering look and to also stabilize your camera so that it's nice and smooth and we can have the video look like this versus this. Welcome back to part 2. We're going to take your stop motion skills to the next level. So if you have a tripod, now is the time to use it. If not, grab a mug and place your phone against the arm of the mug or inside a cup. It's important that your phone remains still during the entirety of your stop motion shoot so that the focus can be on the object that you're animating, versus if you're holding it with your hand, then the background's not going to be in the same place between each shot, and the background's going to be moving and the object's going to be moving, and it's going to look sloppy like your first video. Another tip for creating a seamless stop motion video is moving your object only a little bit between each shot. That way you have many shots from your object moving from one side to the other. If you only had 3 or 4 images, your video would look like this, and when played at a high speed, it's going to be gone in the blink of an eye. Next, I'm going to teach you how to avoid that flickering light look. We're going to use controlled lighting. Although daylight is very beautiful and has a nice, natural, fresh look to it, it's not your best friend while shooting stop motions, unfortunately. And that's because it's not controlled. So let's say you're shooting by a window and there's sun and cloud, and when you start your project, the sun is out. And then by the time you get to the last frame in your project, the sun goes behind the cloud. The exposure is going to change, and then when you play that video back at a high speed, it's going to cause that flickering light look. To avoid that flickering look, I recommend shooting away from a window and using a controlled light. So a controlled light is any lamp that you have in your house, because it's not changing the exposure while you have it on. I'm going to use this IKEA lamp here. If you want to invest in professional video lights, we have links to our favorite Amazon products, which you can see in our academy. So we're going to start fresh with a new project. If you're still in the player from the previous project, click the arrow on the top left-hand side and it'll take you to the home screen. Push the big blue plus sign to create a new project. The second factor that can cause that flickering light look is not locking the exposure and the white balance. So first thing we're going to do here is lock those two. They're on the bottom left in the camera like you see here. This is to prevent your camera from auto-exposing as objects move in and out, which will also cause that flicker light. We're going to repeat the same process as before with animating our object. However, this time we have our controlled light source, our white balance and exposure is locked, and our phone is stabilized, so it's either on a tripod or placed against a mug or maybe inside the mug. So take your first photo with the frame completely empty and then move your object in, take another photo, move the object again a little bit, so on and so forth until it's completely out of frame and you have your last photo with the frame completely empty. Now let's go to the player and see how much better this project is versus your first one. You can push play to see how the video looks at a slower speed. However, we already know that we're going to want to increase the speed. So go to that speed tab and move it about 3/4 to the right and push play. Wow, check out that difference. Look at the difference between these two videos. The one on the top is shaky and flickery and the bottom one is smooth and evenly lit. I encourage you to check out our editor as we have tons of tools in there that can enhance your videos even more. You can adjust the brightness, the contrast, you can add music, and you can even boomerang the video and so much more. Congratulations, you've learned the fundamentals of stop motion creation. To further enhance your skills, check out our academy where we have tons of in-depth tutorials. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @lifelapse_app, where we post tips, tricks, and tutorials and inspirational videos that our community of over 1 million stop motion creators are making with Lapse. These tutorials are free, so if you learned something new today, please smash that like button. It helps us out a lot, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're always posting new tutorials on how to get creative with stop motion.